X equals 3. Three, -5. All of these are worth 1 mark because all you are doing is graphing for the...
It's 4.
Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're right, it's 4. I know. Plus 2. -6.
Isn't the slope 1, 1?
Pardon me?
For the blue, isn't the slope like...
No, the slope
1,
is -1.
And then...
Well, down 2 and over 2 is the same as down 1 and over 1. Just like down 312 is the same as down right 312. Well, 12 files were added to my Dropbox. Interesting. This one, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slope is -1. And 1. Slope is down 2 over 3. -3, -1. And this one is -7/2 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2. And the other one is -2, 1, 2, and down 1 over 2 right there, which is 2, -3. Out of 4. By now, there should be no questions on how to graph, but I will entertain any questions that you might have on how to graph. When I say things like there should be no questions, that does not mean you should not ask questions. Yes? Excellent. Now, remember how I said sometimes I would be a dink and make you do one of the choices? This is that time. So, the first one is already set up for you, isn't it? Because y is already done. So, y is 2x plus 14. So, -3x minus 2x plus 14 equals 6. -3x minus 2x minus 14 equals 6. -5x minus 14 equals 6. -5x equals 20. X equals -4. Where do you go from there? Right there. Y equals 2 times -4 plus 14. -8 plus 14, 6. Answer, -4, 6. And of course you check it. You don't need to check it with that one because that's the one you just did. -3 times -4 is +12. +12 minus 6 is 6. We know we did it right. 2 marks. Oh, I crept down into the next question. 4, 6. For 2 marks. Over to here, again, it's nicely set up for you. -4x minus 5 times -2x minus 3 equals -15. -4x plus 10x plus 15 equals -15. -6x equals -30. X equals -5. Then I put that right there. Y equals -2 times -5 minus 3. 10 minus 3, 7. And my final answer is -5, 7. And I only need to check the top one. That's positive 20. And that's positive 35. 20 minus 35 is negative 15. So I did it right. So I get myself 2 marks. Down here, is this one set up for you? Yes, because I moved it up to here. Excuse me. Negative 5x minus 2x plus 18 equals 17. Negative 5x minus 2x minus 18 equals 17. Negative 7x equals 35. X equals negative 5. That, of course, goes in right there. Y equals 2 times negative 5 plus 18. Negative 10 plus 18. 8. And your final answer is negative 5, 8. And, of course, you check. That's positive 25 minus 8 is 17, and we're good. And lastly, for substitution, negative 3x minus 5, 2x minus 10 equals 11. Negative 3x minus 10x plus 50 equals 11. Negative 13x equals 39. X equals negative 3. Pardon me?
Is it negative 39?
It is negative 39. So x is positive 3. Negative 39. X equals 3. That goes right in there. That should have changed to pink. I hate it when that doesn't work. Y equals 2 times 3 minus 10. 6 minus 10, negative 4. And your final answer is 3, negative 4. Of course, you only need to check this one. That's negative 9 plus 20 is 11, so we did it right. Elimination. Which one are you going to work with? Does it matter? Of course not. But you have to,
You can times
you have to multiply. Which one do you have to multiply and by what?
both by
You have to multiply both
4 times 3, 3 times 4 to get 12.
depending on which way you want to go. If you want to eliminate the y's, you're going to use 3 and 4. If you want to eliminate the x, you're going to use 5 and 3. Is there a better way to do it? Of course not. You choose. All right? But I do recommend, because many of you screw up subtracting negatives, I recommend that you get them to be opposite signs so you can just add. Understand what I am saying? So, this guy, depending on what you want to get rid of, that tells you what you're going to do. But the steps or the concepts are the same. If you are trying to get rid of the x's, you're going to multiply this guy by negative 5 and this guy by 3. Or you're going to multiply this guy by 5 and this guy by negative 3. That will get rid of the x's. If you want to get rid of the y's, you're going to multiply this guy by 3 and this guy by negative 4, or this guy by negative 3. I should change color then so I have all 4 are different colors. Purple. Or this guy by negative 3 and this guy by positive 4. And that'll get rid of the y's. Just depends on what you want to do, right? Doesn't matter what you do because you're going to end up with an x and a y that then you're going to go back and check with. So it doesn't matter what method you did, because when you go back and check, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Is this your repeated class?
Indeed, it is not.
Okay.
Okay, then. Right? So nobody cares what we do. I've still got purple in the pen, so I'm going to do this one and get rid of the y's, which gives me negative 9x minus 12y equals negative 3, and 20x plus 12y equals negative 52, which then gets me 11x equals negative 55, x equals negative 5. And then that x can go anywhere I see, anywhere I like. I'm going to put it there. 15 plus 4y equals 1. 4y equals, negative 15. 4y equals 16, y equals 4. And your final answer is negative 5, 4. And then, of course, you check. You know it works in the top one because that's the one I just used. Negative 25 plus 12 is negative 13, and I did it right. No matter which of those four you chose, you would get the right answer. Okay? You could also, if you were crazy, have used 6 and 8 to get rid of the y's to go up to 24. Or you could have used 10 and 6 for the x's to go up to 30 and 30 if you were crazy. But of course you wouldn't do that because you would use the lowest common multiple. The same way we used in Unit 3 and the same way you've been using since grade 4 when you learned how to add fractions. Any questions on elimination? Good. Now, I eliminated the y's over here, so I'm going to eliminate the x's over here. Don't we all wish we could eliminate our x's? I'm just kidding. I don't want to eliminate my x's. I love them all. That's not true either. But I have a couple of them that I'm still very good friends with.
How do you get negative 15 for this?
No, seriously. I was the MC at her wedding. My wife was her maid of honor. Carry on.
That's good. How did you get negative 15 to get y when you were trying to find y?
3
Yeah?
times negative 5 is negative 15 because x equals negative 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Was that the one with the crossword puzzle?
One with the crossword puzzle.
I don't know.
Remember you had met somebody and then you guys had a crossword. She gave you a crossword puzzle thing.
That's a different X.
Okay.
She just recently Facebook messaged me from Australia. She's coming back to British Columbia. She's been in Australia for like 15 years.
Oh, really? 15 years.
Do I need to do anything to the top one? No, of course not. But if I multiply the bottom one by negative 2, I am going to get negative 4x minus 6y equals negative 10. Then I can just add them. I don't need to worry anymore about that one.
I just multiplied the top with 3 so that it matched with the...
Yeah, you could have done that too. But I told you I'm going to get rid of the x's because I got rid of the y's over here. Because it doesn't matter. So now I can just add them. The x's are gone. That's negative 5y equals negative 15, y equals 3. Then 4x plus 3 equals negative 5, 4x equals negative 8, x equals negative 2. And my answer is negative 2, 3. And then I check it. I know it works in this one because I just used it, so I check it here. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5, and I know I did it right. All of that's worth 2 to make all of that worth 6 in that middle section there. And then we have a word problem. Again, it's the one that seems the most complicated because it freaks you all out, but it isn't. It's exactly the same as all the other ones. There's investment 1, there's investment 2. Investment 1 is P, investment 2 is Q. P plus Q equals what? 1,000. 0.05 P plus 0.08 Q equals what? 68. And you solve it now. Your choice. Most of you will probably multiply this by 100 so you don't have to worry about the decimals. To get 5p plus 8q equals 6, not 1,000, you idiot, equals 6,800. And then you will do your system work with this. Most of you will probably, in this case, actually, you're probably split 50-50. I, of course, move the p over to here and make it negative, and then I do substitution on these ones, personally. So that would be 5p equals 8 times 1,000 minus p plus, which equals 6,800. 5p plus 8,000 minus 8p equals 6,800. Negative 3p equals negative 1,200. P equals 400. If p equals 400, 1,000 minus p, q equals 600. And that is going to be worth 3 because you had to set up your own system. Making that page out of 9. How many different answers could go in both of these spots? An infinite amount of answers. So, if it has no solution, then x plus 2y would equal anything but 6. So x plus 2y can equal m. No, not m, because m is slope. X plus 2y equals n, and n can't equal 6. If you have anything but 6 there, all that's happened is that line is slid up or down. Okay?
I kind of went ahead and just put it into y-intercept form.
No problem with that. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So, if you have that, it's y equals negative 1/2 x plus n, and n can't equal 3. Anything like that. Infinite solutions is x plus 2y equals 6 times any number, because that will give you the same line.
As long as they're both the same.
Same thing up here. You could multiply that by any number. Q. Okay? 1 mark for each. Perimeter problems always kill you guys because you forget that a perimeter is a length and width, but there's 2 of them. So, perimeter is L plus W, right? What does L plus W equal? It equals, no, 10. Because all the way around is 20. L and W is only halfway around. You could also do 2L plus 2W equals 20. And the length is 3 meters greater than the width. Right? So the length equals the width plus 3. The length is greater than the width. So this is set up for substitution, isn't it? Because L is W plus 3. So W plus 3 plus W equals 10. 2W plus 3 equals 10. 2W equals 7. W equals 3.5. What's L? 6.5. 3.5, 6.5. 4, 2. Because you had to write, or 3, I'm sorry. Because you had to write your own system. If you use 2, 2, and 20, you're going to get the same answer. If you use W equals L minus 3, you're going to get the same answer. Remember, this you decide on. The method here, I told you to use substitution, but I forgot to read that, so I probably wouldn't even read it on a test, and I would have given you the marks even if you didn't do substitution. Next one, you're going to get 1 for writing your system, and you're going to get 2 for solving it. What is the system you need? How many kinds of tickets were sold? A and S, adults and students. How many tickets were sold? 200. So A plus S is 200. How much was it A ticket? $10 for an A ticket plus how much for a student ticket? 6S equals how much money? $16.80. There's your system for 1. Then you solve it. What would I use? Substitution, because if I just move that A over there, I've got it, right? Do I have to? No. So since you all said I would use substitution, I'm going to use elimination this time. Ha 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 ha. Multiply by minus 10. So I've got 10A plus 6S equals 1680. And negative 10A minus 10S equals negative 2000. Then I'm going to add them together. Negative 4S equals negative 320. S equals 80. Once you have S being 80, you know that A equals 120. And lastly, the very last thing we did in the unit, how many solutions there? 1. How many solutions there? Infinite. And how many solutions there? 0 for 3 marks. Making that back page out of 3 and 3 is 6 and 3 is 9. And 2 there, 1 each, is 11. 11 and 9 is 20, and 4 is 24. Number 7. Two.
No, on the last page.
3. 1 for that. 2 for the work. Gouda? Sure. I get 3, 6, 9, 11 on the last page, 9 on the next page, that's 20, and then 4 on the first page is 24. And as the more astute members of the class will recognize, that, of course, was the last page of the book. Which means we are at the end of the course.
These were all out of 8, right? Just by themselves.
2 each. You need to figure that out for yourself. If you can't figure that out, you shouldn't pass Math 10. All your work right now is worth 80%. So you have 65 out of 100, right? But you don't really have that for the whole year. You actually have 65% of 80, don't you? So if you find out what 65% of 80 is, then you know what you have before the final. If that number, 65% of 80, is bigger than 50%, then even if you get 0 on the final, you will pass the year.
Okay. The final is worth 20.
Yes, the final is worth 20. Was it Zach that told you it wasn't?
Well,
I was wrong. I don't know what happened. Wait, what did I say? Wait, what did I say was wrong?
All right.
What was it this time? No, it wasn't this time. Oh, yeah, sure.
Since we are done and we are reviewing, and it is only 8:40.
It wasn't 20.
Give me 1 second. Slightly longer.